by Progressive Insurance. Smalls dancing.
Shout out to Bad Bunny.
Album of the year. Album of the year, Grammys last night. I saw Jelly Roll, great speech. Bieber, stripped down performance, literally and figuratively last night was excellent.
I missed that. I got to, I'm a believer. So
I know.
I got to check that out today.
I'm trying to think what else I saw last night. I didn't see much of it because I was watching Heat Bulls and then Knicks Lakers, and then I saw some of the highlights this morning. But Bad Bunny won. The three things that I saw all over the internet: Bad Bunny winning Album of the Year, Jelly Roll. I mean, God, he's in good shape. Good for him and how he's gotten his life
Great
back
dude.
together.
Just like
and
awesome human.
Wonderful speech. And interestingly enough, this is how you know it's a wonderful speech. It factored in religion. I'm not the same religion as him, and I'm all in on what he's saying. And it was just like, oh, this is a mass appeal, like, let's just be good to each other kind of speech, which was great. And
Love
then the
it.
Bieber performance, if I could speak English, last night. All right, there are two coaching hires that were made this weekend. One was made official. The other one cannot be made official. Let's start with the one that cannot be made official yet, and that is the Raiders expected to hire Seattle Seahawks offensive coordinator Klint Kubiak after the Super Bowl. Courtney, correct me if I'm wrong. This is a man you covered years ago, and the moment you covered him, you did not cover him in a way that you thought, oh, that guy's going to be a head coach one day. Is that correct?
Correct. So he's been with 6 different teams in 6 seasons. So you go all the way back to the Minnesota Vikings in 2021 when he was the offensive coordinator under Mike Zimmer, and then the whole staff gets fired after that year. And he moves on, and he's bounced around from place to place to place, and then he gets to Seattle this year. So, like, when I was watching that game last week, the NFC Championship, and seeing a Klint Kubiak offense close out a team, that was not what I had seen 6 years ago when he was in, or 5 years ago at that point when he was in Minnesota. But he has come such a long way as a play caller. He's come such a long way with his command over his quarterback, over the scheme, over the offense. And we know that this system has been around for a long time. His father, Gary Kubiak, I guess cultivated this, invented this Shanahan-Kubiak offense with Mike Shanahan. But to see Klint make it into his own, where it's getting the most out of Sam Darnold on the biggest stage possible heading into Super Bowl 60, I can understand why he was sought after by a lot of different teams this cycle. And, ultimately it comes down to this final weekend between the Raiders and the Cardinals. And guys, I don't think this was much of a hard decision whatsoever when you factor in the quarterback situation for both teams.
Yeah, when you have Fernando Mendoza, assuming that that's going to be the number 1 overall pick, that would entice me to choose one place over the other.
Same.
Not only just Mendoza, but they've got some weapons. They've got some offensive weapons to work with there. Bowers, Canty. And I'm hoping that the Raiders, when this ultimately comes through, they're patient this time.
Boom.
I hope they're patient this time. Tom Brady, I'm hoping, and that ownership group has learned from their mistakes. They obviously had a quick cook, one and done with Antonio Pierce, and then with what are you doing?
I'm trying to do my Brady Instagram pose now. Whatever he does on Instagram now.
Yeah, his like middle school girl dreaming,
Moving
laying down,
from the
snuggled
couch
up.
to
I love
the
that.
bed or whatever he was tweeting about.
It was great.
Tom Brady, social media during the offseason, A+. Just keep doing what you're doing, Tom.
Can I just follow up quickly on what you said?
Yeah.
With a question. Do you believe any NFL team, Smalls, will actually show patience?
The Steelers.
But that, to me, is loyalty. I think there's a difference between loyalty and patience. Loyalty is, Mike Tomlin was here. We love Mike Tomlin. We're going to let him coach forever because we can't find somebody better, and we don't want to find somebody better than Mike Tomlin. Then he walked away from us, if you're the Steelers. I don't believe loyalty and patience are the same thing.
I think if I had to pick 2, and let's remove the Steelers, let's remove the Giants, because you're not going to move on from guys like that quickly, a John Harbaugh and a Mike McCarthy, guys who've won. So let's take those guys and move them off. I think you're talking about organizations with guys who maybe have done this for the first time. Is that what you're kind of getting at?
I'm saying specifically with the Raiders. I'm saying it is so obvious that you should not look at it as a 17-game season. You should look at it as a 34-game season.
Right. But if there's one organization that I think is going to have patience, even if maybe the situation doesn't demand it, I think it's going to be the Bills based on what we've seen out of the press conferences and the way that Josh Allen and Brandon Beane and everybody in that organization loves him. We thought that they were going to make a win-now hire. We thought it was going to be a proven commodity, get over the hump. Let's make sure that we act with a sense of urgency. And maybe Joe Brady is that guy. But if he doesn't get to a Super Bowl or win a Super Bowl in the next 2 seasons, do you think that they're going to pull the plug on him? Because I don't.
Right. Let me ask it more directly to you. Do you believe the Las Vegas Raiders will do what seemingly is obvious per your assessment and look at Klint Kubiak's hire as a 34 to 51 game sample size, right? That's 34 plus 17, 51 game sample size instead of a 17 game sample size.
I
So
think
you're giving him 3 years? That's what you're saying?
Yeah, I am. Just like Aaron Glenn, 3 years. Like, as long as you don't shoot yourself in the foot, and Aaron Glenn has done a couple things to shoot himself in the foot so far.
I think as long as he's working well with Mendoza and or you're seeing that progress, because if it's a disaster, they might look at, and I know it's a different situation because he was inherited there, but if they look at a Caleb Williams situation and they say, well, or Gerard Mayo and Drake May, if it's not working right away, maybe they panic and pull the plug. But I think that they'll give him time, because if it's working with Mendoza and you're seeing growth there, then yeah, be patient.
I'd like to believe that the number 1 overall pick changes things and extends the timeline for patience, because you don't want to be in that situation all that often, because most times that means you're a bad team who had the worst record in the NFL. They've done this now for a couple years, flirting with that territory, and now they got it. You don't want to screw up the number 1 pick, your investment. You want the return there, which requires time and patience to develop a quarterback. Like, I don't think Mark Davis is somebody who we can automatically just give the benefit of the doubt to, that he won't feel tempted to, if things go wrong, just start over again. Because he's done it with Pete Carroll, he's done it with Antonio Pierce, he's done it in the past before with other coaches. He's still paying a lot of coaches that are not coaching for him anymore. He doesn't want to have to do that, but now that you have a chance, that you've got somebody, what's the common theme here with the coaches that I just mentioned and what they have not done? These are not like Super Bowl winning coaches right now, or coaches that were in the Super Bowl right now. Pete Carroll was in the Super Bowl a while ago. Klint Kubiak is about to coach in a Super Bowl, and they're favored to win. You have somebody who has that pedigree that you're bringing in, that you're expecting to develop the number 1 overall pick at quarterback. They haven't drafted a quarterback this high since Jamarcus Russell. And we saw what happened, how that whole thing devolved so quickly. They're not going to be in the same situation this time around because of who they're drafting at quarterback and who their head coach is. It's the right pairing, but it's a pairing that's got to marinate for a while. And anybody around the league can understand that you have to express patience with the number 1 overall pick, from Carolina to the Chicago Bears. There's enough sample size now, recent sample size, that I think the Raiders can look at that and say, we have to give this time, otherwise it's not going to work. You can't panic your way into a good decision, which is why you're hoping that you won't ever be in this situation, at least not for a couple of years, because you give it enough time to see it through, to see if it actually can come to fruition.
But Courtney, we have a problem in the NFL. If your reaction to me saying the Raiders should hire Klint Kubiak and his first season is 34 to 51 games and not 17, and your response is 3 years, as if that is something.
No, I was just trying to do the math on it, because
I understand, but that's ridiculous. This is a team that is a blank team right now. They're about to get Mendoza. You're not going to be great in year 1 with Mendoza. You have a chance. See, the Drake May, Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels has thrown this off in some way, but that doesn't mean you should expect to be that, because these other teams are going to be.
I agree. I don't think the worst to first thing is a realistic expectation, even though the 2024 class kind of shattered that idea when
And
Jaden
Knicks,
Daniels,
I should say, put Knicks in there too, to be honest.
Yeah, well, I mean, you saw him take his team to the playoffs in 2 years, starting with his rookie year. What Jaden Daniels did as a rookie, going to the NFC Championship. You've got Drake May playing in a Super Bowl, what Caleb Williams did. That shouldn't be the norm. Could it be the expectation? Yeah, eventually, if you have the right pieces in place. But they have a very bare cupboard. And a name you didn't mention is Max Crosby. I don't think he's on the team next year. I think that you're starting over on defense with a lot of assets in the process, which is a good place to be in if you're building something. If you can have your ownership know, this is going to take some time, but look at all these pieces we're bringing in. Look at the future that we're starting right now. You don't blow up your future after 1 year. It never felt like that with the last couple of teams. It was Derek Carr at the end of his time with the Las Vegas Raiders that felt like it was inevitably going to come to an end when, with John Gruden and, the interim basis of everybody else, Antonio Pierce beyond that, that was not ever going to go anywhere. Pete Carroll in the 1 year deal with Geno Smith never felt like it was a long-term fix. That was a bridge option. This isn't. You have a clean slate here with a 38-year-old head coach, a number 1 overall pick at quarterback. And as Michelle mentioned, from Brock Bowers to Ashton Genty to all of the picks that you're going to have at your disposal to continue to build, That's something that is different than the other Raiders iterations that gave up so quickly on the new people that they brought into the organization over the years. Like, now you know that, okay, there's nothing else here. Like, we are clearly at the ground floor, and you have to start building it. The other times, it felt like they were trying to force something through to see if they got lucky. That's not the case this time around.
Coming up, there's a reason they came in last. We'll get to that next. We're on Sportsmanlike, presented by Progressive Insurance.
The NFL on